Looking to upgrade your sim racing setup to a direct drive wheel, but you cannot decide between the Moza R5 and the Cammus C5? In this video I will compare these two entry-level direct drive wheels so you can see the differences, and most importantly, I will give you my opinion on who should buy which one. I have review videos about both wheels on my channel, so I will leave the links in the video description if you want to check them out. Let's start with the force feedback. The Moza R5 has 5.5 Nm of peak torque and the Cammus C5 has 7 Nm of peak torque. The C5 has stronger force feedback and you can really feel it compared to R5. Regarding the quality of force feedback, they are very close. As a basic user, you will not feel the difference in resolution because both wheels have excellent force feedback like you would expect from a direct drive wheel. The only difference here is that the C5 is stronger, but the R5 strength is more than enough to enjoy the sim racing. These wheels are much stronger compared to belt-driven wheels like Thrustmaster T300 with 3.9 Nm of peak torque. Now, if you plan them to use on the desk, I have a good news for you because they can be mounted on the table with the desk lamp. Here you can see both desk lamps, they are very similar, but the desk lamp for Cammus C5 has adjustable angle with 3 positions. The Moza R5 has a fixed angle desk lamp. The biggest difference between them is that the Moza R5 has a quick release system, so you can swap wheels on the wheelbase. You can even use a cheaper option by replacing the rim on the bottom box. Moza offers 2 modes, for Formula style rim and bigger 12-inch diameter round rim. So you don't have to spend a lot of money on the new wheel rim and you can use these mods to customize your R5. On the other hand, the Cammus C5 has a fixed wheel rim that is part of the wheelbase, so you cannot change it or customize it, and you are stuck with the default D-shaped wheel rim. This is the biggest issue with the C5, and some people say that it looks ugly, but I quite like the design and you will get used to it. The next difference is the buttons and paddle shifters. The buttons are definitely better on the C5 in my opinion. They feel and sound high quality. Let's hear the difference. Also, the C5 features 3 rotary encoders, which in result offers more buttons to map on the C5 compared to R5. The paddle shifters on the R5 are standard metal spring-based shifters, very similar to the paddle shifters on the T300. The C5 has a very small plastic paddle shifters. Now, in my opinion, they sound and feel better compared to R5. R5 shifting is loud. Here you can hear the difference. But after using both wheels for a while, I noticed a big issue with the C5 paddle shifters. In the beginning, they feel good, but after a long race, my hand hurts, specifically my fingers. I have bigger hands and long fingers, so when shifting they are in an awkward position. This is because the paddle shifters are very close to the edge of the rim and I just can't use the wheel for a long period of time. But that's the downside of the design of the Cammus C5. It's for smaller hands. They both have rev lights on the wheel, but the lights on the R5 are not customizable like the ones on the C5. Cammus C5 features a 3-digit display as well, where you can see the gear you are in or the speed. You can also display both at the same time. Now let's talk about the pedals. The R5 comes with the SRP light pedals. They are an excellent piece of gear for the price. Full metal build with Hall effect sensors. By default they come as 2 pedal set, but I highly recommend to buy a brake performance kit for the brake pedal. But keep in mind that with the brake performance kit you will need to mount them on the cockpit or some wheel stand, because they are not usable on the floor with the brake performance kit. Maybe if you put them against the wall they may be usable. Of course, without the brake performance kit they are perfectly fine on the floor. You can also buy a third pedal if you need a clutch like I have here. As you can see, the pedals are customizable. Regarding the Cammus C5 pedals, well, I don't have them because already on paper they are not worth it. I would recommend using different pedals with the C5. The ecosystem you will be in is also important, and the Moza is a clear winner here with the additional shifter, handbrake, different wheel rims and pedals to use with the R5 wheelbase. So let's sum it up. Who should buy the Moza R5 and who should buy the Cammus C5? If your budget is small and you already have a good pedals, smaller hands and you don't need to change the wheel rims, go for Cammus C5. It's an excellent high quality direct drive wheel with stronger force feedback compared to R5. But if you want to swap wheel rims, you need good pedals, you plan to use a handbrake, shifter and you want to be in the ecosystem where you have a lot of options for future upgrades, you definitely need the Moza R5 bundle as your first direct drive wheel.